Hello everybody, this here with a video again on world building lore because boy, this channel is becoming just all world building at this point. Aside from doing what the first video I was doing, which is gathering money in RuneScape. So the topic for today is the other thing I'm doing right now, which is reworking the vampire article, because with how they developed the world anvil article that I've got on them right now does not reflect what the vampires became through development. Right now the article basically just lumps vampires together as the virus and their descendants, which doesn't reflect how I've made the world at this point. Where vampire is just a blood-drinking creature that sustains themselves that way, which could include other things than the descendants of the Vire. There's also the aspect of the concept of a vampire being the more civilized version of the Vire, and the Vire being bestial creatures. Maybe like, you know, a level of sapiens, but very much almost I think orcs, and then lower it a bit further in the standard favoring thing. But as a part of this, there's the courtship of the virus, which I love the idea of the courtship of the virus because it shows. I feel like it's an element that I enjoyed making. It has an aspect of intelligence to it. It also has an aspect of strength to it, as is right now. Let me read here. The gifts. What? The gifts now. These gifts may vary from a flower brought from the tallest mountain of the deepest oceans. Be a pack of slaves to be butchered or spared on the whim of the courted vampire. Matters little to them. What matters is that the gift shows strength or might. That it shows the power the other holds. And then we have in Vire circles, this tradition is imitated through weights put on the hunt. So I'll probably use that stuff for the past of the Vire, because the history of the Vire, let's dive a little bit into that in this video, which is probably gonna just be about how things develop. Nothing is ever set in stone, is it? The Vire are apex predators of their world. They are highly developed. They have just evolved into these terrifying creatures. Now, if they're touched by magic in any way, I'll have to explore that. And how their world was before the fall to the Vire. But the Vires basically hunted their world to the damnation that it is in. So maybe in the past, this was how their rights worked. Take some of these elements, put it into that. But in the current version, instead the courtship is much more refined. For example, if we are to take... Okay, let me first take up the concept that I actually wanted to talk about in this video. Okay, is the clans. Now, when in discussion with the people I tend to talk to develop my world, the clans have become very much a ethnicity centered thing. Like, this is how the clans function, and to an extent there is a very much a commonality of how Clan Gold functions, how Clan Steel functions. But at the same time, I'm thinking there will be a lot of variation within the clans. the analogy I thought of originally was that if you look at Africa and you say African culture, now, if you said that to someone who had not studied Africa, now I haven't studied Africa, disclaimer, deeply, so, you know, take this as you will, but I don't mean to sound rude with this. But Africa is such a large place, it's a goddamn continent, and has a lot of cultures within it. It's like onions. But there might be a standard sort of culture of Africa. If you want to think that way, you might be able to consider, okay, this is African culture. But if you are from Africa, and again, someone can correct me if I'm terribly wrong in this, if you're from one part of Africa, your culture might vary vastly from another part of Africa because of just the geographic distances, especially in the past. Those will probably be even stronger when geographic distance actually mattered much more than it does today. Wow, I keep being interrupted in these videos, which is a pain because that means I have to put them through iMovie. And you guys get them in 520 instead of 720. But oh well, guess that's how we're doing it. Yes, via geographic distances. So, considering just how big the clans are their own nations almost in terms of size. Now, they might not have the same variation as differences in Africa, in fact. And please let me know if anyone else had this misunderstanding when they were younger. For the longest time, I thought Africa was one country. And then I realized that, oh no, wait, it's a bunch of countries. Africa is a continent. Okay. It's one of those wonderful little misunderstandings that you have as a kid and no one tells you about because it's so obvious to those who know that it isn't the case. But if we then think about the clans, you have clan gold, or let's take clan steel for this. So you remember clan steel and you have found a buyer that you want to court. Now, starting out the courtship, you're gonna be the one who's asking. You're gonna be the one who is below stat-wise. The other one could dismiss you at any time if you fuck up. So you give them gifts. Now, what gifts will you give? So let's say that the buyer you're trying to court is they're descendant of the Lady of Rage. They are battle, their drives and aspirations are fighting, a one-on-one battle. Now, you might give them, now this wouldn't be appropriate for the buyers, but from a human perspective, you give them a rabid bear. They're gonna love it, because, I mean, you just gave them, like, the biggest teddy bear. It's like giving someone a teddy bear, but their tasting teddy bear is one that has Wolverine's mind and body and experience, and really it's, you just gave them Wolverine and they really like Wolverine. Maybe you gave them a teddy bear Wolverine. Who knows? But the point is, you give them that bear and they're gonna love it. But another one who specifies themselves deep into the concept of clan steels, raising of dead. Maybe they are of a family of necromancy, essentially. They like the concept of being the warlord. Maybe you seek out that clan gold contact. They owe you a favor because you got them out of a pinch that one time. You made sure to beat the shit out of that other person who was bugging them. And you ask them, hey, I'm in need of mortals, and they oblige, they owe you after all, and they're grateful to give you a few mortals. You take 500 mortals and you bring it to the one you're trying to court. They might really enjoy this. Now, here's where maybe, depending on taste, it will vary if they want them dead or alive, if they want themselves to kill them and get that enjoyment for them. These are disturbing creatures. I'm sorry for anyone who came into this thinking this would be about lovely vampires who are really hot. Well, maybe the Klein Goldwell was hot, but you know. Details. This one is gonna love the concept of having all these mortals, because now they can die and they can be raised and added to the thrall of the army. Now, let's reverse it. Let's say you give the bear to the warlord and you give the mortals to the rager. They're not gonna be equally happy. They might even, say that, what disgrace is this? Begone, you desperate person. But maybe if you go to a member of family Dracul, maybe they will be, they won't be favorable about either one, but they won't throw you out for either one. It's decent. More to thrall, sure, that's good. About, okay, kind of fun. Probably more favorable to get the bath, but they won't scoff at you for bringing them more thralls. This is variation just within clan steel. And there would also be variation within clan gold. Some will like shinies, some will like mortals, some will want maybe for you to bring a king from the material plane or a queen from the material plane, someone from the material plane that is in power, and make sure that they think that the Vair you're trying to court is a deity. They are, they are Slanesh or something. That's what they would want. These are those variations that exist within the clans. The clans are so big that it's hard to pin them down. What was I trying to discuss with this? Probably the fact that groups, and this often will apply to a lot in my world, there's a lot of variation within groups. Unless you go to a very core group, it's like a group of 5 people, they might have, a very centralized, this is what we all believe. A whole country, even within Casconia, there are some people who don't think that is all great. Blue King is an excellent example. They don't complain about it, but let's face it, Blue King would be more happy if the rules regarding their enchantment were a little bit lighter and they could put Blue King's patented leopard of wooden glory and sometimes fire in the middle of the town square, and also enchant the well to speak to anyone who passes by. They would love that. But, no, apparently that's not socially accepted. For some reason, people don't want a leopard who spews fire in the middle of the square. Or a talking well, for that matter. Variety tends to be what I want in my worlds. Okay, good, you're not galloping. I guess what I'm trying to say is I am trying to rework some articles. Never suspect that anything you make will be set in stone. Like, things shift. I'm gonna have to reconfigure articles probably. Like, I'm gonna have to make an article in just a Vair, and then completely rework the vampire one, because vampire's got a shifted meaning. But oh well. It's fun. So, thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments below. Now, of course, I haven't been able to check comments because I haven't been able to upload the video regarding vampire patrons. So I haven't been able to get comments from that. Let me actually check though. Are there any comments from the last video? Let's see this. Notifications? No, nothing there. This is not just me stalling for time because that's his spotters and I have more time to need to do. Notifications? No, this is my settings. That is not what I want. Probably have to edit this. Creator Studio. And we're back. So let's see. It's apparently prove that. Okay, so we have not gotten any comments recently. Just look. So thank you for watching. Until next time. See you later. And I don't know what.